figuring, funding, fixing, and flipping your own foreclosure deal. And I got to be blatantly honest with you, okay? My favorite part of this gig is the people I get to interact with all across the country whose lives I know my team and Foreclosure Profit System is changing actively. And on today's show, I am super excited to have one of my newer clients on the show. She's already in her first deal, all the way from New Jersey. And guys, we're going to go into detail about her journey into becoming a coaching client and how she's going through her first deal. But the real takeaway I hope you get from this is anybody who wants to do this, anybody who can push past the reluctance that naturally comes from making any investment, much less an investment in a house halfway across the country in a market they're not aware of, is going to find success in the foreclosure profit system. The thing about it is it just takes taking that initial step. Without further ado, I am honored to bring on Samantha. How are things? How are you today?
Hey, Donnie, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. It is so great to have you on the show. We've already got people tuning in, so let's hop right into this. You obviously joined the Foreclosure Profit System through the Foreclosure Deals Coach System. Tell me how you found me. How did the first interaction come about? Just give me a little background on how this came to be.
Yeah. So one night I was scrolling through podcasts and wanted to understand a little bit more about, hey, what would it look like to buy a foreclosed property within my neighborhood? Didn't really have that much education around what that would look like. So I'm a lover of podcasts, found you on a podcast. And from there, I was like, oh, let me go book an intro call to see more about what this is about. But that was my how I came to come to find your program.
So you listen to the podcast, you schedule the call, we do the whole coaching assessment call. We talk about, well, this is a good investment for you. Obviously, you already know, but the 3 requirements to be a coaching client is number 1, you got to be willing to buy a house in the state of Colorado. Have you been to the state of Colorado?
I have. I love your state, but can't say I spend much time there.
Okay. So your house is in Pueblo, Colorado. It's on Wyoming Avenue, which makes that very confusing, Colorado and Wyoming. But you've never seen this house in person. We are going to load some photos, but walk me through that process, right? We found a property for you, which we promised to do. First off, how long did it take? Because I don't remember either. How long did it take from signing up for coaching to getting you into the first deal? Do you remember?
I think you presented me with the first deal on my birthday, which was a week after I signed up for the program. So it was a nice birthday gift.
Well, happy birthday. I didn't even know it was your birthday. Well, we talked about that. So we presented a deal to you on Wyoming Avenue in Pueblo. We're going to show some pictures here in a little bit, guys. So hold on. We're going to get to that part. But you're buying this property in Pueblo, Colorado. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you purchased the home for $130,000. We did our deal check analysis, the figure stage, came up with a value of $215,000. That's what we put in the deal check. We're going to get into what we're actually listing it for here in a bit. And then we started into the funding process with Mike at Traction Capital, got that done. How long did it take to get closed? Do you remember from the time that we went under contract?
It was 10 days.
Okay, so we pretty quick closing, pretty quick closing, but it was also a really entry-level price point, right? You're only buying at 130, had to put a good amount of money down. Now, this is where the story gets interesting because I'm never going to forget this either, and I'm certain you are. My wife had surprised me with a trip to Mexico, right? So I'm heading to the airport, and now we're in this deal with you, and at some point you have to wire what, like $25,000 or $30,000 or something like that to get
fair enough.
Tell me how that felt. What was that like to wire a bunch of funds on a property you've never seen to some fast-talking dude you met on a Zoom call?
I think I wanted to throw up multiple times. And I don't know if you remember this, but I remember, I wouldn't say it as I was like asking you questions. I think at some point I was like, I don't know, Donnie, this is moving really fast. Sure. I don't know if I feel prepared or ready for this. I think I was about to back out, and you were walking and coaching me through that. And I wouldn't say that I yelled at you, but
my therapist would be fine.
But I think that I did adamantly exclaim, Donnie, I need a flow chart. Like, I don't know if I can move forward with this. But I am very grateful that you did help coach me through understanding more about the process, what this looks like. Because while, sure, I might have experience in residential real estate or corporate real estate, the investing side and this whole process is very different. It's
Mhm.
you take emotion mostly out of it because it's not like your personal residence, but it moves fast.
Yes.
And I think it's one thing to understand it. It's another thing to
To do
actually
it.
walk through it and then to
Yes.
feel what that looks like. So I very much was ready to back out.
Yeah, I remember that. And I'm
And
getting on a
I
plane, like, I
needed
don't
you
have a
to
ton of time to talk
walk
to
me
you. I
through it.
remember, like, Sam, seriously, I'm boarding an aircraft in like 15 minutes. So we have to get through this now, and this wire has to go out. So that was a fun thing. I remember like sitting in a lounge in the airport going, I hope she does this. But it is a lot of pressure. You're making a big decision. You're wiring a lot of money. A lot of times it's at a property you haven't seen. The due diligence was done, though. Did you feel like you ultimately were prepared to make the decision?
Yeah, because I think what this decision came down to was, does the numbers make sense? And it's you understand the purchase price, you understand your closing costs, you understand the reno. The numbers did make sense. Just the process and the feeling of walking through sending X amount of money out
Yeah.
to some random guy. No, I'm just kidding. I did understand the process, but it's nerve-wracking,
It's
right?
nerve-wracking,
I haven't
right?
walked through it before, and so I needed a coach to kind of
And
help
I
push me off the ledge a little bit.
You nailed it. It's about the coaching. It comes down to, and I don't just want to toot my own horn here, but I needed a coach. Like many years ago when I was doing my first deal, it really came down to somebody to guide you through it and get you confident in your analysis. Because obviously we help you with the analysis, but you got to read and compress the numbers yourself and make sure that the numbers make sense in your head. But if the numbers make sense, obviously it's logical to pull the trigger, and you did. So you pull the trigger, you wire the funds, you now have the property, we're closed. Tell me about what's happened since then, because you've had this house for what? Not even a month yet, right? We're pretty close to 30 days, give or take, right? Or
I
maybe
think we
more.
might actually be like 6 or 7 weeks,
Okay.
but regardless, like the project has moved on very quickly. So actually, the day that we closed, the day that had title to the home, that's really when we kicked off the project. So Lily has supported as the project manager for this flip, and she and the extended team and I all met and we talked through expectations for the project. I informed Lily like what's the best way to work with me, like what I would need out of a project manager. She told me what she would need from me in this process, and it was to be able to communicate consistently and make decisions in an expedited time frame.
Mhm.
And so I think that really helped just kick off this project to work well. The
Mhm.
fact that we were all able to say like, hey, here's the goal for the project, here's how we want to interact with one another, and start from there. And I think that that really helps set up the working relationship to be smooth sailing for this project.
I love that, and it's so accurate. A lot of my clients, they come in and Slack is a new tool, and technology changes, and it's kind of it's such a new thing for people that they don't use it as to the extent. We have a team channel for you. You're
Mhm.
communicating inside there with Lily and the rest of the team, but
Mhm.
primarily with Lily, your operations manager, and then Lily's talking to the project managers, keeping things along lines, and obviously you got to pay the contractors as the work is getting completed. I know the answer here, but it just needs to be said. How's your
Yeah.
experience with Lily been? Like, how's
Oh my
that?
gosh, I love Lily. She's an incredibly capable woman.
She
And I have
amazing.
been so blessed to have her be so communicative with me because, as you mentioned earlier, I live in New Jersey. I'm nowhere near the state of Colorado. I've
Right,
never even seen this house. I've never been to the property.
right.
So the fact that I feel comfortable with with what's going on and I feel informed and I feel educated as to really understanding my property without even being there, that's that can only be attributed to the way in which Lily is working with me.
Yes.
And so I'm very thankful for her. She is worth her weight in gold, that woman.
I totally agree. She's such an awesome being in general, but her grasp of the process really helps
Yeah.
keep you comfortable as the client. That's truly the objective. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
already nerve-wracking enough to come as far in this process as you've had, but I can
Mhm.
only imagine. I mean, I don't need to imagine. I remember what it was like before we had a solid operations team with Lily at the
Mhm.
helm, where clients didn't really know what was going on, and obviously that's going to upset you. You're already a little bit nervous about this move, and then you're not feeling like the communication is there. We had a lot of problems with that in the early stages of this
Mhm.
process, but now we've really dialed that in, and you're one of the true testimonies to how that works when it's going well. So
Yeah.
let's show some photos because you guys are doing Photo Friday, and that's a
Yeah.
fun thing that you and Lily came up with, by the way. That was not a that was not a client thing until now, but now we're stealing it. So just so you know, that's going to become a normal thing now. But let me just pop in. I'm going to share my screen because I'd like people to see your property in real time. And then here we go, share screen.
Well, I have a team back at home who is at dinner tables on Sundays want to know the update on the house. So Photo Fridays is helpful to be able to be like, hey,
I love that.
Here's where we are.
The whole family involved in it. I think that's just awesome that people are getting to that level. I remember you had mentioned that you didn't actually tell them you did this deal till after you own it. Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, not at all. And we closed on the property when I was away on vacation. And so I come back and I have dinner with the family. And I was like, so guys, bought a house.
I don't know the guy or the house.
And
from your family when you told me you'd bought the house. I want to get to the pictures, but that's just a great part of the story for me. What did they say? What was the first reaction? You're not.
You know what? Well, I told them about it, and at first they were like, "Okay, Sam," but I explained like the why, and my why behind this is, I work in a corporate setting. There are great things about corporate. Corporate can also be a very stressful lifestyle,
Yes.
and I was really looking for a way to, I'm hoping that this can lead to a better life of more flexibility and can lead to, my desire is someday I hope to be a mom and I want to raise my kids. And so I want to take the steps that I can do now to prepare for that kind of lifestyle. And so as I, was telling my parents about this, actually, their response at the end, once I explained it, they were also proud of me. And I think to hear them be like, Sam, I'm so proud of you, was actually like really beautiful. I thought my parents, my siblings were going to be like,
You're not,
girl.
You're out of your mind. Yeah.
I thought that they were going to make me more nervous, but having them say, I'm so proud of you. And if this works, we're going to be right there in the program next to you. I was like, oh, that's good. So hopefully this will create a better life for me and my family.
I really believe it will. The idea is a passive investment vehicle, semi-passive, right? It's not, I don't want people to think this is just all easy. There's been some struggles along the way with this deal and every deal. But it is the idea that you can do this from anywhere, that you can do this consistently if you have the courage to take the first step, which you did. Let's hop back in. I want to show the photos. I hate when that pops up like that, but that is the nature of this. All right, here we go. So kind of the outside picture, not a great shot. It's hard to get pictures of a remodel in process. So that's the outside a little bit, not great photos, but inside, here we go. The flooring is in, the trim is in by now. When we took these photos, they were not, but carpet's in there. It just looks, guys, you didn't get the benefit of seeing this thing before, and we should definitely do more of that so you can get the before. But I got to tell you, the after on this is amazing. The quality is incredible. I'm just so impressed with what the construction crew did. But I really think it comes down to proper management, proper leadership, which is really kudos to you, Sam, just kind of jumping in and staying communicative with the team, getting them what they needed to get moving. Obviously, we get this thing listed, so let's get into that. We've talked about how we found it. We've talked about analysis a little bit. We were planning on 215. The funding process with Mike, that went pretty well. The fixed process, we're like 4 to 6 weeks in, which is right on track. We want to be at 4, but obviously a couple of hiccups are okay. Now we're about to sell it. We originally budgeted for this thing going on the market at 215. Excuse me. You guys had the conversation with our team agent, Steve, yesterday. What do we think our list price is going to be?
Yeah, he recommends no higher than 225. So I think our game plan is we'll list it for 225, and then if it isn't taking, we'll just do decreases on a scheduled basis. So yeah, at that point, it's exciting to see.
I love it.
This could, what this will amount to.
Let's talk some numbers there, because you purchased it for 130. You've got the budget was what, 40,000 for the remodel, but it sounds like you came in lower on that. What did you guys end up hitting for the remodel?
Yeah, we're coming in around 35.
All right, so 35 grand. You got 130 plus the 35. You're at 165. We're now planning on listing at 225. Then we got to take that. So that provides a gross yield of $60,000, right? And the objective is to take that gross yield and cut it in half. So that leaves you to about $30,000. Now, why do we cut it in half? We got to figure in your agent commissions. We got to figure in your cost of funds, any overages that come up, right? I think we'll actually do better than that. But obviously, if this thing clears 30 grand, that would be awesome. More realistically, though, right, we're probably going to have to cut the price a little bit because the market is slower.
Mhm.
Maybe you end up at 215 or 220, but I do feel like, I mean, tell me if you agree, but you should make somewhere between 20, 25 grand on this deal. Does that feel pretty solid to you right now?
Yeah, sounds like a good day to me too.
Can't argue with that. And then what? So you're gonna get the money back. I assume you're jumping in to do your next deal. Tell me about your plans for afterwards.
Yeah, I think that once we have an agreed upon offer for this house, I'd like to move forward with the next one. So I signed up with you in at the tail end of February, and I would like to at least complete 2 deals this year. So that's my goal. So I think once we have an offer, I'd really be eager to move forward with the next one, and get the ball rolling there.
I love that, and that is the
Yeah.
goal, right? Our objective is to get
Mhm.
you to 4 a year, but in the first year, you're getting started. It takes there's some
We're learning the process.
in a learning process, right?
Yeah.
Once you're at full steam, 4 to 5 a year is pretty reasonable. We're going to target that 4 best that we can. If you would change anything about the interaction, how you got started, just the process, what would you change about what happened in this process? Any negatives? Because I really want to be transparent with our audience about things that maybe weren't so great. What didn't you like?
Um, I think that the only thing that was hard for me was just it was kind of like the understanding and the education piece. Because as I mentioned, I've dabbled into residential corporate real estate, but this is just a different ball game. And I think that maybe it's just how my brain works. I do well with understanding like processes and understanding it from like a high level. Here's like end to end what this whole process will look like. I think, and this is something that I think I've learned along the way, and maybe we can work together on, is just kind of creating like an end to end document or understanding as to here's how the process works, here's who will be the point person on point 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah,
and go from there. I've learned a lot of that along the way. I think just from my learning style, it could have been beneficial just to
minute.
maybe have yeah, documentation around that
Yeah,
up front. But I wouldn't say that that made a negative experience to like there was a negative takeaway or that negatively impacted the process. Just for my learning style, I think that probably could have allowed me to be would have enabled me to be more comfortable as walking through it for the first time. So maybe that's something we can work on
yeah.
together. But
Document
yeah,
the now that we're getting more success stories in the program,
yeah,
and we've had a lot of successes, but we haven't taken the time to document it. But it's really about building the processes, and I think
of
you're really
course.
dialing those in. But I do appreciate that, and you're right. Getting more of that would be useful. A lot of people watching this right now, they want to pull the trigger. They really want to do this. I talk to people all the time. Some of them can make themselves do it. Others can't. What would you advise somebody who's on the fence on whether or not to join the coaching, whether or not to get in the program? What would you say to them?
Um, I would say that if you have the extra funds laying around, my main takeaway from this, or maybe like why I took the jump, was because I don't want to approach things in life and look back and be like, oh, I wish I did that.
That's right.
And I think that this is something that I've always wanted to move forward with, but didn't really know how to get started. And your program has the processes set up, which I know is a huge value add. And so, like, my thought process and what helped me move forward with this was saying, okay, even with buying this home, it is a very low entry point to test it.
Yes.
And this to me felt like while yes, there is risk involved, and while yes, it does feel a little risky at first, this was a very low entry cost or low entry point
Yes.
to be able to test to see if this works. And if
100%.
it doesn't work, I mean, the
No.
numbers kind of proved to me that it would work. But
Right.
if it didn't, it's a learning opportunity and you move on from it.
Right.
But I am excited and eager to see what this looks like once this deal does formally close, because I do think that it's going to be very successful. And for me, it's like, okay, we've learned it here. We'll try it again. But I think that the process is set up to allow me to feel comfortable that this will be something worthwhile. So for me, what helped push me over the edge is I don't want to live
Regret.
regretting that I
Right.
didn't try it, and that this was almost felt like the easiest, safest way to dabble into it. if that makes sense.
Yeah, I could not have said that better. I think so much of this program and my vision for the program was this isn't for everybody. That's a big takeaway.
Sure.
There's a certain linear nature you have to have, and there's a certain creative nature you have to have. And obviously you possess both of those skill sets, but it's a great way to find out inexpensively it's a good fit for you, as opposed to just randomly going out there and buying a house, which most people will never do. You could really lose your shirt if you do this unguided, right? So I think the risk is pretty mitigated by the fact that my whole team, including myself, is involved. But now you do know it's something you want to do. You've wanted to do it before. You've actually done it. That's a crucial step in anything you're going to do, right? And now you're deciding to do it again. And I think the program really provides a bridge for people to make that determination whether this is the right fit for their investment portfolio or not. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I also think something that helped me get comfortable with this was at first, like when we had our coaching call, when you said you have to do the deal in the Colorado market, at first I was like, but I don't even live there. Like, why on earth would I do that? I think what helped me get comfortable is that, but you know the market and you have the experience there. Something that really was valuable and I really appreciated, like as we were working through, I think that Friday that we closed on the house, you said that the biggest thing that we have to be mindful here is like not over improving, and that's someone who like knows the market. And like when you and Steve were talking to me about like, hey, here's the rental budget, here's like where we're going to list it at, like that was like a key piece of information that if someone who hasn't done a flip before, or just to walk into it, I might not know that. And so I think like having that kind of coach to say, hey, here are the things that you need to be mindful of. We might not spend a lot of money outside, but don't over improve in here.
Yes.
Those kind of things. Do this the first time, you need help and you need the process and you need someone to coach and guide you through it. It's a safe way to do it.
I love that. And again, it's really the heart of the program. I needed the same mentorship when I got started. Everybody, it's funny, like if you're going to go get a pilot's license, the example I use all the time, like you wouldn't hop into a plane and go, let's go for it. Like you would definitely hire a flight instructor. But the funny thing about real estate investing is people are like, yeah, I'll figure it out. You're gambling with all this money. You will,
but you might lose money.
You might lose a lot of money. This is the reality, right? And the thing about this process is we can't guarantee the results because it's an investment in vehicle, and all investing involves risk. Our little disclaimer we have to keep saying, but the reality is with the protection, with the people, somebody watching your back, and the whole team that you're getting with this system, it's highly unlikely that you're going to lose money on the deal because you make your money when you buy, and we make sure that you buy it right. And then, like you said, don't over improve it. We're getting to the end. I want to open it up for comments here. Guys, if you've got a couple of people still watching at this point, if you have any questions for Sam, please hop in right now, ask those questions. We're going to go a few minutes. I guess parting words, would you recommend this to somebody who wants to get started in real estate investing? Sam, which is something you think somebody else should do?
I think so. I think that if you have the risk tolerance for it, I'm excited for the kind of life that it will enable me to live. So I'd wish the same for anyone else.
I love that. What's your real estate dreams? Like, obviously you're going to keep flipping houses, you're going to get that, but do you have a bigger picture vision you want to either get coaching on through the program, or what do you want to do on the larger scale of real estate, or what's the long-term objective?
I don't really know. Like, I want to keep walking through these flips, but I guess I have more big picture dreams for the life that I want to live. And this is a vehicle and a mechanism to enable me to get there. So I think that's kind of how I've been looking at it.
It is. It's a passive, semi-passive. I got to be careful saying passive, but a semi-passive income stream that when you take it, it just enables your life in so many ways. I'm living proof of it. It's why I'm where I am financially and in life. You're now living proof of it, that it can change your life. So I'm excited for you. I'm so appreciative that you came on board, that you pulled the trigger on that first super nerve-wracking deal and did it anyway. I'm so proud of you. Such big things are going to happen from here. Any parting thoughts before we wrap up today, Sam?
Thanks for pushing me over the edge, Johnny. I really appreciate it.
The pleasure.
I'm excited for what this looks like.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate having you on the show. With that, guys, listen, I love that getting an opportunity to talk to clients like Sam is a big part of what we do here. And I hope you guys took some stuff from it. The ideas you got to push forward and make the first step. I'm so glad that she did. We're going to wrap up with that, guys. If you're interested in getting started in coaching, please reach out to me, slide with my DMs, do whatever you got to do. Let's stay in touch. I'm an easy dude to find, but let's get on a coaching call and see if we can have the next story like Sam's be you. With that, this is Donnie Corum, your foreclosure deals coach. Thanking you so much for tuning in and reminding you now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.